Hello everyone, welcome to this lesson. So in this lesson, we've got a 5 kg ball that is going to swing, and eventually when it gets to the bottom of its trajectory, it's going to collide with a 10 kilogram block. Our goal for this question is to try to determine the maximum height reached by this ball on the other side, so when it goes up over here. If that block was not in the way, and there was no air resistance or anything like that, which we're going to assume that there is no air resistance. In grade 12, we're not going to look at air resistance. Then that ball would keep reaching 15 meters on either side. So it would reach 15 meters here, and then it would just keep going backwards and forwards at 15 meters. But obviously, because of the block over there, when that ball collides with the block, it's going to lose some of its velocity or some of its energy, and so it won't reach 15 meters on the other side. It should reach a height that is lower. And so the way to handle a question like this, and I've seen questions like this in exams before, is to work out how much energy the ball has in the very beginning. So let's do that. So we know that energy is, well, what we mean by that is mechanical energy, and we know that mechanical energy is equal to the following. Now at point A, it says that the ball is at rest, and so that means that there is no kinetic energy, and so it's only going to have potential energy. Now remember, potential energy is equal to the following, and so the potential energy is, or the mechanical energy, which is the same as the potential energy, is going to be equal to the mass, which is 5, times by gravity, which is 9.8, times by the height, which is 15. That gives us a value of 735 joules. So at A, we have 735 joules. And so what we can now do is we can use that fact, and we know that that ball will always have 735 joules as long as it's falling. Now we know that this ball is going to fall, and there's going to be no air resistance or anything like that, and so the mechanical energy is going to be conserved. So we can work out how fast that ball will be traveling the split second before it hits that block, because we know, let's call that point B, that the mechanical energy must stay the same. Of course, the energy type will change from potential to kinetic, but the total amount of energy will still be 735. Now when that ball reaches the block, it's at ground level, and so it won't have any potential energy, so all of its mechanical energy will be due to kinetic energy. And so we can say that its kinetic energy, which is the following formula, is a half mv squared. And so we know that the total energy of the ball at B is 735, so we can say 735 equals to a half mv squared. Because you could say plus mgh, but because the height is 0 there, that part falls away. And so 735 is going to be equal to a half of the mass of the ball, which is 5, but we don't know what its velocity is. Then you just go ahead and solve for velocity, and you end up with 17.15 meters per second. And so that will be the velocity at B, which is just before it hits the block. Now this is the important part. At the point where the collision takes place, that takes place on a straight line, okay, just for those few split seconds. And so this should bring your attention back to a chapter we did many lessons ago within the chapter of momentum, where we said that when you have two objects colliding, the sum of the momentum before the collision should always be the same as the momentum after the collision. And we showed that mathematically as follows. The sum of the momentum initially is equal to the sum of the momentum final, and then we choose a direction as positive. And then remember, this is the part where we opened up all the brackets. If you're a bit unfamiliar with this, you need to go rewatch the lessons on momentum. It's in the chapter called Momentum. And so we fill in the mass of the ball. So I'm just going to say m1, velocity 1, that's for the first object, and that will be I for initial. Then the second object, initial. Then we do the final scenario. And remember, the reason I'm using mass times velocity is that's because momentum is mass times velocity. And then I'm just going to fill everything down here at the bottom. So the mass of the first object is 5. Its velocity. Now, remember, we're talking about the collision over here. So its velocity is 17.15. That's what we had to work out. Plus, the mass of the second object, which is the box, is 10 kgs. But it's initially not moving because they said it's stationary. Now that's going to be equal to the mass of the first object, which is 5, but we don't know its velocity, but we do know that the block moves off at 2 meters per second. And so there we have it. We can now solve for velocity. If you do all the calculations, you should end up with a velocity of 13.15 meters per second. So just after the collision, the object is now moving, or the 5 kg ball is now at point C, where it is moving at 13.15 meters per second. Now, from point C, it will continue along its circular path, but now it has no other forces trying to slow it down or speed it up. So there's no air resistance or anything like that, so we can go back to the mechanical energy. So we now need to work out how much energy it has at point C. It won't have 735 anymore because it would have lost some of its energy due to the collision. So now we can work out how much energy it has. At point C, it's still on the ground, and so it only has kinetic energy, and so we can work out how much energy it has. So we know that mechanical energy is kinetic plus potential, but because it's still at the ground level, the potential energy is now 0. So the mechanical energy is going to be equal to kinetic, which is a half mv squared. So it's going to be a half times its mass, which is 5, and its velocity is 13.15 squared. And if you work that out, we end up with 432.31 joules. See, so before the collision, it had 735 joules. After the collision, it's got 432.31. So that makes sense. It's lost energy. And so now, because it's moving under the influence of gravity only, its mechanical energy will stay constant, and so it will reach a specific height. Now, when it reaches its maximum height, the velocity would be 0, and so, but it would still have 432.31 joules of energy. Remember, it doesn't lose any energy because its mechanical energy is conserved. So we can call this point D, and we can say that mechanical energy is equal to kinetic plus potential, but at point D, when it's at its maximum height, it will have a velocity of 0. And so we can, and we know that it's got an energy of 432.31 equals to its potential energy, which is mgh. And so that's going to be 5 times 9.8, but we don't know what its height is. And so if you go work out the height, we end up with a height of 8.82 meters. And so that is the height that it would reach on the other side. So guys, that was quite a good question. Very important that you understand the concepts that we dealt with in this lesson. Thank you very much for watching.